I got some papers here.
Okay, go ahead.
Just going to lightly, lightly move those.
That's really good. That's really, really good.
Your turn,
Okay,
Sam.
okay, I got this. Here's my knuckles cracking. Oh, those two are duds, but there were cracks.
It's okay. Just explain it some more. That really helps my ASMR. Oh, hello everyone. You've
Oh,
just
hi.
interrupted Sam and I. We were doing our weekly ASMR challenge where we try to over ASMR one another. ASMR standing for audio sensory man recording. It's where men record audio sensory things, just like Sam and I, who both identify as men still to this point, right, Sam?
So far, yes, but it's early in the week, and by the time you get this, it'll be the late middle of the week. So we'll get back to you. But for the moment, yes, we are ASR men. Wait,
ASR. Men. Sam, let me. I've
AS
got
men are. There we go.
AS Men are. That's us. We're the AS Men are now. Let me. I got some. I got. Oh, what is this? I'm gonna open this. Ooh, it's just. What is that? Oh, it's a Beauty and the Beast pin, starring Emma Watson. Oh, wonderful. Let me just put this on you. You've been a good boy. This is what ASMR is, right? Mostly
Hold
just
on,
condescendingly speaking to another person.
yeah, I got one. There we go. Oh, look. Do you hear that? This is me rubbing my fingers in all of Laura's makeup and her
Oh.
foundation. And then I'm going to here we go, putting it on my face.
Mm.
That was good. I slapped myself pretty hard. So I think I hate ASMR now.
You know what? Some people get it, some people don't. Not all ASMR is made the same for all people. So maybe this really triggered some people and they really loved it. I usually go for crinkle tinkles. My wife, she likes brushes and ear touching. It's all
Oh,
it's all a preference thing.
hey, here's a brush sound effect or ASMR brush just for your wife.
Oh, wow. Ooh.
And one more. This person has really long hair. That was me hitting the floor.
I'm glad that we started with ASMR this week because it really gives a relaxed tone to what is going to be probably the last moment of relaxation that we're going to have with this book.
Accurate. Accurate. Wow.
Oh yeah, we're starting into the avalanche coming up here. The Sanderson avalanche gonna break us all and and ruin us for any other climax for any other book. Oh man.
Break us off a piece of that anxiety.
Seriously, like we read these chapters about I read these chapters about like a week and a half ago, and it's been in the back of my mind like I gotta finish this book like now, but I want to hold off
Yeah.
so that it'll be fresh in my mind. I've tried not to read further ahead, but yeah, I'm just sitting there. I'm just like ooh, because at the end of this chapter we have Kelsier finally about to face off to the death with an obligator.
Oh man.
Or not an
Wait,
obligator, an
Obligator?
inquisitor.
Inquisitor.
Yeah.
I got goosebumps. There's so many parts of this book that I just read and I imagine how it would look. And even just like the way he writes it, it's so easy to imagine, but just goosebumps, you know what I'm saying? Just
Mhm.
goose
You got those
pimples
ASMR
all
chills.
over. I got the ASMR chills, but like if it's my eyes that's reading them and not my ears that's
The
reading them.
the
What
R of
do you
the
call that?
ASMR stands for reading.
Yes, audio sensory man reading.
Yep.
And it is, oh man, it is
That's
pleasing.
our podcast actually.
I really like Uh, I really like changing the name from Brandon Sanderfans to ASMR Men. No, AS Men are. What did the USSR? Wait, what did we decide? It doesn't matter. This is now an ASMR podcast.
There are some people like I wouldn't doubt that there's an ASMR podcast. It's pretty huge. If you look on YouTube, there's a lot of people super into it, and I think that's fine. It helps people with anxiety and depression, kind of pulls them out. But I don't think it's never really triggered me. But maybe I'm just going off the wrong stuff. But going into Sanderson.
The right stuff.
the good stuff. Last
good
week
stuff.
we talked about his deal with DMG a little bit more, and the movie deal.
Yep.
And how they're going to make a VR simulation. Yeah, this week, these chapters that we're going through is like the last thing that we get before everything just kind of explodes, and there's no rest until the end of the book. So,
Oh yeah.
going into what's happening, like people are just chilling, and it's just post then Mistborn murdering Shan Ariel. And so she comes in and she's like bloody, and she's like, I stabbed Shan Ariel in the chest twice with the same arrow.
and Ham was like, "Nice. How'd you do
Nice.
it? Nice." That's
He's
his
like
ASMR.
he's like freaking ATM. That'd be so, being a Mistborn with ATM in the world has to be so scary, because at any moment another Mistborn, that another Mistborn could just come in and wreck your stuff, and if you don't have ATM
Oh,
at the ready,
yeah.
like you're owned. But yeah, so on the back of that, she comes back from a Mistborn murder party. Everyone's talking to her, and she's like, I wanted to save Ellen. They're like, what the heck would you do that? And she's like, you guys don't understand. And she has really good points here. She basically says, and these are her friends now, so I think it's an appropriate setting, that all of these ska, this quote unquote ska, that are in this thieving crew know nothing about the ska life, because they lived very privileged lives, very separated from the ska people in the street. So she basically says, you need to check your privilege. You don't know really what it's like. You don't know what it's like to always never have any food, or to think that you're going to be murdered or violated in some way. And I think, because she's friends with them, I think this is a good situation. I kind of hedge my bets at people that like jump out and yell, you need to check your privilege at someone that they don't know. But she knows these guys, and we know these guys, and we know, yeah, they're living wildly different lives than the normal ska that they claim to be serving and helping.
Right, and that's what I was gonna say, is that they're close enough now, and of course Vin was super on an emotional super high that she'd never experienced before, having just murdered someone with magic powers, that she was,
and realized the reason she was doing it is because she loves Ellen, and so she has all those like conflicting emotions of finally confronting that she's lost the will to fight against Reen's voice, and fallen in love with this man that all of her friends actively hate without even knowing at all. And so yeah, and she, atop that, she's had a very tumultuous life. She is a teenager as well, so a lot of things she's still trying to figure out and trying to become an adult. But
yeah, and she finally has a chance, becoming an adult, and talking with Sazed, and going to the balls, and conversing with other people her age, and not to their knowledge, someone of the same level or status. She finally has a chance to stand up for herself, or at least to stand up for what she knows to be true. And I'm sure it's very liberating, but it's also, like I said, emotional high. It's got to be just like this. She was probably shaking like crazy and just telling them off like, you guys literally have no idea what it's like to be ska. You are more noblemen than ska. And then she gave them all the bird, and she walked away. And that's how the book ends. It was a crazy ending.
She just floated. She steel pushed her way like through the roof, just like giving him the bird.
but really slowly. Like
Really
it was
slowly.
excruciatingly slow, like an escalator.
You could
but
just hear the
worse.
roof just like creaking and cracking for like 5 minutes underneath her weight while she's just looking down, flaring pewter, not moving her body 1 inch.
That was all the 3 chapters we read, was just describing every inch of the house being slowly ripped apart.
Just
Oh
lifted off, and
man.
everyone below is just in disbelief, like, stop, no, please,
Come on,
Vin,
this is a really nice hideout. Please
come
stop.
on, man.
Vin, can you just, Kelsier, do something?
Could you
Kelsier's
just
asleep.
not?
What are we gonna do?
Jeez.
Well, Kelsier goes and talks to her, and it would be so easy. Kelsier is also a very emotional person. He's very emotionally driven to make, decisions on the fly, or having made decisions to make a plan. But he goes up and he just talks to her. And instead of exploding and becoming even violent with her, he's just like, "Hey, bud, you okay?
Yeah,
Everything
I,
okay in
I
in
really
Vin's
actually,
world?"
I highlighted pretty much this entire conversation because I loved it so much. One thing I loved
Yeah.
is Kelsier intuits that she loves Elend and comes up and says, I loved him, and he's like, I know, and she's like, no, not Elend, I'm talking about Reen. And I would just want to read what it says. He beat me over and
Yeah.
over. He swore at me, he yelled at me, he told me he'd betray me. Every day I thought about how much I hated him. And I loved him. I still do. It hurts so much to think that he's gone, even though he always told me that he would leave. And, both Kelsier and Vin, in that way, have been hurt by those people that they love most. Vin by her older brother, who took care of her entire life and looked after her and kind of prepared her. And Kelsier by Mare, where he, at least by the information he knows, the Lord Ruler says that he betrayed her, and then she died. They both died pretty much right after they betrayed the people that they loved most. And either way, both Kelsier and Vin can't help but still love them because it's so emotionally damning to that place of, I can't change how I feel about this person, even though I know I should. I should try to be different or better. It's horrifying and really, really real at
Yeah,
the same time.
and I'm afraid to make this comparison because it's not as serious as, an abusive brother who raised you but was still very abusive, or a wife.
By all means, lighten it up.
Well, no, I was gonna go somewhere just as bad. It's like when couples get divorced, there's always that part of them that loves the other, that loves one another, no matter what happened. But because of everything they went through and, the relationship they did have, that love still exists, even though it's mixed with contempt or disdain or anger, hatred, all of that. There's always that love that exists. And even though it just seems absurd to keep it, but even though it seems, like absolutely ridiculous to still say, wow, I do love that person, it does exist. Love is so strong that it will hold on through all the super bad memories. And I do not have personal experience with this. I currently and will always love my wife. But, my parents getting divorced, friends' parents getting divorced, there's always, that little thing that they always say, well, I still love them, but, I just don't want to, we're no longer married, kind of thing.
Well, as Andrew Lloyd Webber
Oh, jeez.
wrote in his, huge hit sequel to a huge hit musical, Love Never Dies. No matter what we do, love never dies. No, but it's true. The love is such a powerful emotion because it's strong. Hatred, it's some. I think that we forget often that if our emotions are on a spectrum, love and hatred are closer together than love and indifference. Indifference is a lack of
Yeah,
emotion
absolutely.
completely. That's when you could maybe forget about someone. Like I graduated high school back in 2009. I don't remember like almost everyone in my graduating class except for my close friends and those that I really loved. The rest of them, I just don't remember their names. I remember kind of their faces. I don't really remember anything that we did together because I don't have strong emotions for them. I also remember people that I hated and people that I despised. I feel like they sit really close together on the emotional spectrum, and we don't identify that enough. That they're kind of bedfellows
Yeah.
sometimes when you're dealing with those strong emotions. So that's kind of what Vin and Kelsier, who have now had years to recover from their associated betrayals, and Vin, now that she's younger, so it's easier for her to emotionally recover from some things in some ways than someone that grows up with that and then becomes an adult before they get into a safe place. I feel like Vin is working through those things a little bit faster, maybe for reasons in the book and also for reasons of her being kind of exceptional in those ways.
Yeah.
But really interesting stuff, and I think that we don't talk about often enough the effects, not the effects of so much physical abuse, which Vin was subject under, which is horrible, but also the effects of the emotional abuse that comes with being hurt and betrayed by those you love most. And I think both Kelsier and Vin are exploring those in wildly different
Yeah.
ways. Kelsier is acting out, and he is killing all the noblemen and doing all these things because of his memory of Mare and how she should have been. While Vin she is accepting of new friends, and I think she would rather stay behind and protect Ham and Spook and Sazed and Clubs and Breeze than even continue the job that Kelsier set forth. Which actually, there's two conversations here. One where they do figure out that Vin can pierce copper clouds.
Yeah.
She demonstrates it to Kelsier. Vin, it's been suggested a couple times, but she is more powerful of a Mistborn than Kelsier in a couple different ways, and this is one of those things that she was demonstrating. She only found Shan Ariel because she pierced her copper cloud, and she pierced Kelsier's and reliably told him what metals he was burning.
It's a cool little scene because it leads to going back to betrayal. It leads to Kelsier wondering if because they had somebody with them who could put them into a copper cloud, but then this is back when Kelsier was with Mare and they went by stealth to infiltrate, but then they were found.
When they went into the sea metal urchin.
Yes.
The metal sea urchin.
Metal sea urchin.
The heavy metal sea urchin.
And
that is Kedrick Shaw. They went into Kedrick Shaw with a smoker.
Thank you. I could not think of the word smoker.
When the Lord Ruler showed up, he said, it was thank you, Mare, for giving, for betraying you, or it was Mare that showed us or told us where you were. And in that way, he could have. I mean, the Lord Ruler has no reason to lie because he's immortal, and it's said that he doesn't lie because he's like a demigod or whatever.
Yeah.
So let's say he didn't lie. He could be telling the truth and saying, hey, we know how to pierce copper clouds just like Vin's doing here, and we pierced it, and we sensed Mare because she was burning tin. Because, that was her power. And Kelsier never knew about this, so he could never consider that. So for years, now all these years of the pain on top of the betrayal, he kind of sheds all of those like immediately. He doesn't know if it's true or not, but it kind of makes sense to him. And then he says, let me look it up. He says that he wants to thank Vin for bringing it up, and that it explains everything if they were able to pierce a copper cloud and find out, or basically make Mare through that. And he ruminates and says it's foolish, because all these years, it's just as if I was waiting for a reason to give in to self-delusion.
Yeah.
In other words, he's not sure if he can even believe it because he's still so emotionally damaged, but he can't stop himself from believing it. He wants to give his deceased wife that extra chance of whatever it is, because he can't really exist living on kind of hating her. He never could.
Yeah, he wants to give her the benefit of the doubt because he knows her. He knew her better than anyone, and he wants to truly believe and not just think that she really didn't betray him. And so I really liked that moment. I actually highlighted that. That's what I was looking for before, and I'm glad you were able to find it. But it's such a cool little moment. It's such a beautiful moment that he's able to push away all the negativity, all the negative thoughts, and all of the doubts and all of the fears, and just say, you know what? When it's all is said and done, I want to believe that she didn't betray me.
And I think so. So for my money, I absolutely believe that the Lord Ruler found them out because he pierced the copper cloud and sensed Mare. It
Absolutely.
wasn't because Mare actively shared anything or anything like that. But Kelsier doesn't really know that. So, this speaks really to the truth of being in a relationship and loving someone, that Kelsier, now being presented with this information, has no choice but to run with it because it hurts so much less
Yeah.
than the alternative. And I completely understand that. And for what it's worth, of course, I think that that's correct. But it speaks to the realness of someone in a destructive relationship, whether it's a friendship or a marriage, or siblings. They sometimes, if they're hurt and they truly love that other person, they'll just kind of dismiss, or they'll find reasons to dismiss the pain, like, oh, well, I said this, and so this happened, or I shouldn't have done this because I know it's going to make them upset or angry, or, I know it's going to make them leave. So it's all this self blame that we naturally as humans can feel and exhibit, and then all of this, you have to imagine Brandon Sanderson feeling all this, articulating all of it, not being a depressed person himself, and then choosing to put those attributes into the heroes of this story. I think it's really incredible
Yeah.
stuff, and that's one of the big reasons why I love Mistborn, because it's unafraid to look at those issues if you are willing to give it a little bit of credence and leeway. In this case, we're supposed to believe that Mayor didn't really mean to do this, whereas in the real world, it's much more complicated than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that he could put these characteristics into, he can give these characters these certain traits and make it realistic and not in any way exaggerated or over the top. It speaks volumes of his understanding of human nature and in mankind in general, and things that the struggles that everyone, or not everyone, but certain people really do go through. It's very impressive, and we always talk about how great a writer he is, but it just speaks for itself. All of everything he writes speaks for itself in who he's writing about and who he's writing for. There are these really beautiful moments in these chapters, and then it ends on like the biggest cliffhanger. Not really a cliffhanger. It's a cliffhanger for us because we don't get to talk about it yet.
Yes, and we'll get into that next week. There's still actually a lot more that we're going to discuss this week. I wanted to make sure that we covered all of that because I think it's one of the biggest cruxes of Mistborn, is that Mistborn, in many ways, at least the first book, we'll get into the sequels later, it is a crux to kind of inspect broken people that are doing incredible things, even despite their pains and their hurt. So yeah, we skipped over a bunch of stuff to kind of finish that point, but I think that we hit it really, really well. Going back to Mistborn Murder Party, she comes back. They talk to Kelsier about the nature of love. People aren't ska enough. Oh, Spook gets shut down by Vin officially.
Again.
Womp 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 womp. He spins a zero on the Price is Right wheel, and that's Spook. The interesting thing is Spook is self-aware. He knows he's a teenager. He knows that Vin likes Elend, but he can't help how he feels, and he took a shot at it. He doesn't resent her or anything. He doesn't say like, well, now we can't even be friends. What was this even for? Like, no, he doesn't project those things onto her, which is good.
So
it's bad to do that.
He tells her, he's like, Vin, look, wasn't in the wand and the knot and I love you. And then she's like, look, Spook, you're great, but
Spook,
we're just friends. And then he's like, I was the Lord Ruler the whole time. And then he killed everyone.
He takes off the mask and grows 7 feet. No, Sam, we've already established that the Lord Ruler doesn't need to lie, so he's not Spook. He's the Lord Ruler.
That's right.
But I thought it was an interesting moment, and something Spook, being a young teenage boy, maybe like a year or so younger than Vin, and kind of in a similar situation. It sounds like he's been in a stable crew a lot longer than Vin has, so maybe he doesn't feel the same things that Vin was feeling at the beginning of this book, but he's living with his uncle. He obviously doesn't have any parents around. We'll learn more about Spook in future books, but
Yep.
needless to say, for a teenage boy, he did all right here, and he teaches her a little bit about being a tin eye, so that's good. We also follow Kelsier as he goes and visits some ska, and this. Sam, I want to see, when you read this part about Kelsier going to visit the ska, what did you think or feel? What was the major thing going through your head?
I will not lie. I had to roll my eyes a bit. I understand that Kelser, he's actually doing some really, really good things for these people. He's giving them supplies. He has the shelter for them. He's checking up on them, which gives them a sense of security. But at the same time, I feel like he just kind of, he has a god complex. We've been over that. But
Yes. Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, it's he has a new nickname, the Lord of the Mists. Obviously,
Yeah.
the Survivor, Big Daddy.
The Survivor, by the way, the name the Survivor, very close to the name the Savior in Christian theology. And reading through the annotations for Mistborn, Brandon did realize this, and he realizes that a lot of kind of Christian ideologues and stuff kind of seep in through Kelsey's story. It's not meant to be a critique or anything. He himself is a Christian. But it's to show that Kelsier is setting himself. He has that God complex. It's supposed to be, this chapter. He said, is supposed to be uncomfortable because
Yep.
we're supposed to be disquieted that he has this much pull over people that just don't know any better. They would do anything for him for any reason, good or bad. And going through that, Kelsier is speaking with them, and he's showing his scars to them, and giving them food.
Ah.
And then I already also highlighted another thing. She says to herself, she's thinking, it says, he really does seem to care for them. I don't think it's just a show. This is how he is. He loves people. He loves the ska, but it's more like the love of a parent for a child than it is the love of a man for his equals. And
Oh, yeah.
that's absolutely true.
Yep.
Kelsier, he doesn't know what it's like to be a ska. He has been powerful and amazing and incredible his entire life, and has never really had to live that. He grew up the favorite. His mother was like the favorite uh, uh, courtesan or whatever of a nobleman, and he grew up basically in a noble house. He basically had a nobleman's life until he and his brother had to go onto the streets, where they were both quickly, much better than everyone else around them. They were excellent at what they were doing. Marsh, at getting into the underground and with the resistance for the ska, and Kelsier being a master thief. So Kelsier doesn't understand these people. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get why they won't rise up. He mentally can't be like them because he's never been like them.
He was more nobleman than Ska. Sorry, he is more nobleman than Ska. And so while he can say, "Oh, I've worked with the Ska, I've been to plantations and I've been to the seediest parts of the city," it really did. I mean, he's still, like you said, he was still born into something better than that. Even if it wasn't, he wasn't the son of, he wasn't the direct son of a nobleman, meaning he wasn't raised in the house, he wasn't raised, as a nobleman's actual son. He still had it better.
Mm-hmm.
And even when they went on the streets, because of who he was and because of who his brother was, they had an advantage. And so when he went in and he was talking to these people, showing them his scars, I do have to agree with Mr. Sanderson that I was uncomfortable. And it wasn't to the point where I was like fidgeting in my seat, but I was just kind of like, he's doing this? Oh, he is.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, he's doing good things, but he's doing them a little bit for himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
People would say that our politics now is kind of in the same situation. that people are doing good things, but they're kind of doing it for self-beneficial reasons. Actually, Ayn Rand, her entire philosophy is that we don't do anything for selfless reasons. Everything that we do is selfish. If we do something good for someone else, it's because it makes us feel good or things like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of philosophies around that. I think Kelsier, at the same time, is also a narcissist. He's a bit of a megalomaniac. He he demands that he would not be questioned by anyone else. That's because he's doing something for everyone else for the greater good. So a lot of things like that. I and yeah, I just wanted to mention it because it is uncomfortable. Vin thinks it's uncomfortable. Everyone in the crew kind of finds it uncomfortable. Kelsier is kind of soaking it in,
Oh yeah.
whether or not it's almost like he tolerates the ska, because he I don't know. He has his warehouse for them, but it's not like he really includes them. He doesn't recruit them into his thieving crew. He doesn't recruit them into his plans. He's not treating them as equal. He's treating them as this fodder for his greater revolution.
Yes,
Eventually,
absolutely.
and we'll see a little bit more of that. The good news is that they have a Kelsier to help them, but yeah, obviously Kelsier could be a much better arbiter or advocate for them.
Rather,
Um,
yeah, rather than treat them like babies.
Yeah, like little babies with the oh, you need food, baby? Oh, just throw some food at the baby, and they throws food at the babies. It's like, oh, I can't believe I have to throw food at these babies.
And their huge
Eh,
heads.
the huge sickening heads. I hate how big these babies' heads are.
Oh
I do want to
man.
say I still love Kelsier, but like little things like this are meant to kind of show that there's something bubbling underneath the surface of what would be our major hero, our hero archetype.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we get a little solo moment for Kelsier as he goes to do some therapy, right? Do some destruction therapy.
It's a very popular technique. You go to the place that hurt you the most, and if it's a
And you
business,
burn it to the ground.
if it's a business, great. That's ideal because you want them to be financially ruined for the next 3 centuries, and then you'll feel so
Yes.
much better. You'll need a nap. You'll need a big nap, but you'll feel so much better. Oh man, I feel better just reading about it.
Yeah, Kelsier goes to the pits of Hudson, and he burns that all down. He goes and kills all the guards. He goes into the pits, into the cracks of the pits, and he destroys all the geodes. So all the things that make the ATM, he uses allomancy to destroy them, so that they will not. They'll have to regrow over the course of centuries before they will start to produce geodes again.
Which,
So is this a good thing? Absolutely, it's a good thing.
it's a great thing.
It frees all of those people that would have been forced to work in the ATM mines until they died. Those people are probably just going to be beheaded now instead. So I don't know if it really helps them all that much, but it does disrupt the economy for the House War almost completely,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the powder keg that triggers everything going wrong.
It's such a. Oh, I loved reading this because I loved reading this because it is just. I just imagine the satisfaction. It's like revenge, but it's like a big juicy revenge steak. But you know what's on that steak? Oh, it's more steak. And you know what's on that? I don't know, ice cream, pizza. It's just too good to be true. It is so. It's gotta feel so good. And going back
Yeah,
there, the last time he was there, he killed everyone and everything within a 10-mile radius. But or was it 20 miles?
he did concentric circles just until.
But to go back and after all the murder, he's like, murder's great, but you know what's even better? Financial ruin. That sounds like a great
Yeah.
idea. And everyone's excited about it. Everyone in the group was just like, you're a genius. You're insane, but you're a genius.
The thing is, like, if you're a student of history as well, you know that lots of revolutions and lots of uprisings are built around economic collapses. So
Yep.
basically, jobs go away, or things are upset in one way or another, and finally the lower class, rises up and takes over whatever was oppressing them from before. So this is kind of like a genius move in one way because it's definitely going to upset the economy. Although it probably only in the short term. In the long term, it's just going to become like a different type of economy. The ATM economy is just going to become more and more expensive as it becomes more and more scarce. And I don't know how much that would affect the ska, but the ska are affected by the reaction to the economy. So, for example, I used to
Yes.
work in the financial industry. I would be looking and speaking with people about the stock market every day. When Donald Trump was declared the winner of the presidential election, even though he had not taken office and no actions had been taken by him yet, the stock market dropped like 20 points, which is crazy because nothing had happened yet. And people were freaking out.
Yeah.
That reaction happens all the time in communities when there's a huge change in power and a huge change in whatever the economic status quo is. So I know that's kind of dry and boring, but it makes a lot of sense that this is what triggers the pretty much the end of the book.
Yeah.
Kelsier comes back. He sees that a lot of people are being executed because of his actions individually, just non-discriminately. Well, they actually do capture the Renault caravan. So these are people that Kelsier had hired. They're his people, and so he says, "I have to go and protect them no matter what." And he's really stepping into it now.
I believe wasn't Spook in the caravan too? Did I imagine that? I feel like
Yes. Spook went with Renault
yeah,
and so he was in one of the cages,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
that's the cage that Kelsier pulls the hinges off, and tosses, or the one that he opens up, the one that he busts out.
Yeah, and then there's the Inquisitor that's like, "Where's the girl?" And then Kelsier's like, "You nowhere. Where's your girl?" And then they fight, or at least they're about to fight.
Where's your girl, man? Are we double dating? I don't know.
There's this warehouse rave going on. It's a bunch of ska and a little bit of food. It's crazy.
Oh yeah,
Oh, man.
the ska, they won't uprise, but they'll throw a great rave.
They'll throw down, if you know what I mean. Not their weapons. They'll just, they'll dance. It's some pretty good dancing.
They'll put on the crustaceans and they'll just mosh all night long.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man, how long are we gonna call back to that episode? Forever, I guess.
Until I die.
So yeah, that's pretty much where we end up. Vin isn't stepping into the fray. Kelsier told her not to, but she is helping Breeze kind of soothe and riot the soldiers and the crowd, so the soldiers don't decide to interfere. Like, hey, you don't want to get in the middle of an Inquisitor fighting a Mistborn, especially this Mistborn, the survivor of Hath Sin. So
Yeah.
you definitely don't want that to happen.
And then he makes a mosh pit by pushing everyone away. And he's like, all right.
He does make a because he flies
He
in
totally
the middle
does.
Of it. He's like, it's my turn to dance. Poof.
And then David Bowie's
Nobody
there, and
puts
he's like,
baby in the corner.
Oh.
In this case, Spook is baby.
And he's in the corner. And he's sad,
He's
and
in
no
the
one
corner.
can understand him.
So, to finish up this episode, I want to make a new Brandon Sanderman. This is where we generate
yeah.
a couple of random words, and we make a new man, woman, or human to put into the book that we're reading. Specifically, I want to figure out. I want a goal for this character. I want this character to help Kelsier not do what he's doing. Not, I want him to help Kelsier not basically step into a murder spree party.
Okay.
If
So
that's
like
okay.
like a sassy gay friend.
Yes, like you would find in a romantic comedy, someone to call him out on his stuff. Vin kind of
Okay.
does that, but we need someone a little bit stronger. So we're going to generate 3 random words, and this is going to inform the personality and the backstory of this character that we're making. So the 3 words, Sam. Oh,
Yes.
Oh my gosh. The 3 words are estrogen.
No.
Yes. Hat. And pants.
Okay.
And the thing is, last time we made a guy, we made a dude, and I wanted to make
Yeah.
a girl this time. But I think that it's a little too on the nose if we make a girl when the prompt is estrogen. I swear I did not do this before you said sassy best friend, by the way. I swear
No,
I did not.
I believe you, Ben. Ben, I believe you, but the audience, I don't know about them. All right,
Okay,
so let's.
I want to start from the bottom and work my way up. Pants.
Absolutely.
So, every crew.
Needs a tailor.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. You read
Yes.
my mind, oh Bond. I
Yes.
love you. So every crew needs a tailor. So every crew needs to know where their pants come from. Where does
Correct.
Vin get her pants? They gotta work. They got a Mistborn all the time. Where did she get a mist cloak? Yeah, who's making these mist cloaks?
Yep.
She lost like two of them in this book so far. Yeah, so yeah.
And they are not cheap. They mist
Who
cloaks
knows?
are not cheap.
I'm gonna name this person, and I'm gonna say that biologically male at least. We can figure out. But Devon. This is Devon, but it's like
Okay.
mist. It's like fantasy Devon, so it's spelled like Devoyne or something.
It's like, yeah, I get it. I love it. I love it. How about D E umlaut over the E, two V's, Y N N E.
Yes, Devon with an E on the. I love it. I love it. So Devon's a tailor. Devon makes the best pants, and maybe like he works. He's kind of maybe he's like the twist, to use a term from early in the book. The twist between or the twixt for clubs to meet Kelsier. So Kelsier knew
Ah,
Devon from way back when because Devon makes the best pants.
right.
Everyone knows Devon. Devon's the best. But
Devin
Devon,
is the best.
being a ska tailor and being a ska craftsman, also knows clubs and knows that clubs is a smoker, and he runs this sort of like underground scheme. If you need a safe house, so that's how he kind of gets brought into the story. That's maybe why he's not in everything, because I'm gonna say he's not an allomancer. We got plenty of people in this world that aren't allomancers. He's one of them. And
Absolutely.
Devon, he makes the perfect pants, but big issue. This is his arc. Kelsier asks him for a hat, and he doesn't make hats. Oh no.
This is good. This is good.
And
And
so he has
Kelsey,
to get over that. He has to bring up his self confidence. He's also suffering with some, inadequacies. He can't make hats. Who can make
yeah,
hats? Hats
he
don't
he
exist.
he started making. He was just like, I think I made you a hat, and then Kelsey's like, Devin, these are just more pants.
No, but put it on your head and see what works. Like, well, which leg
Well,
do I put on my pants? Whichever one fits. Whichever one fits best, Kelsier.
I have to make this joke because I need to make this joke, but I can. Just, he's just Devin's there. He's been working on this hat for weeks, but he just can't.
Right.
He doesn't know what to do, and so he's sitting on a bench and he's like, finishing the hat. Thank you. That's the joke. Sunday in the park, George. Is that
Sunday
not
in
good
the
enough?
park with Devon.
With Kelsier.
With Kelsier.
All right, so he's a really good tailor. I want to say he's a tailor to the stars as well. He gets pretty well known.
Yes.
He's for the ska, and then the obligators and such. He gets great reviews on Yelp.
Yeah, and so one of the words is estrogen. I'm going to say he has high levels of estrogen, so he maybe acts a little effeminate, which would be bad in the Final Empire, except he is so good at what he does that no one wants to, everyone wants to wear Devon's clothes. Oh, what are you wearing? I'm
Yes.
wearing Devon. Like, that's the like the highest standard. And maybe like
Yes.
in the noble class, they don't even talk about whether or not Devon's a Scot, because they don't want to know. They no one asks about his parentage because it's the best clothing, and it's a little bit like when you can open up that kind of slight level of capitalism, a meritocracy opens, and so that's what's happening with Devon. He,
Yes.
by his own merits, is making a life for himself in a place that doesn't want him. And that's kind of where he identifies with Kelsier. And Kelsier goes over and he gets his pants hemmed or trimmed because they're always getting cut. And he's always cutting them himself so that he can do his informant meetings and stuff like that. And Devin just talks to him, just brings him back to earth, like Kelsier, Bubby, I know you love being the survivor, but you're not. You're not the perfect man. You're not going to be able to do everything all the time. You got to give some you time sometimes.
And he's like, listen, I know that no matter what happens, I will always have a job. Look at me. I'm Devin.
And you look at him, and he's just
this.
like covered in pants. And they're like, yeah, you will.
He doesn't have shirts. He doesn't know how to make anything but pants. But those pants work with anything, any style. It's all pants.
And, okay,
I like Devin.
he makes all these things, and I think right after the night where the Kelsier goes and destroys the Pits of Asin, feeling very cathartic, goes over to Devin kind of to check himself to make sure he's cool, that he's good. Devin, I think, is like the person that he sees kind of as an equal, and he can kind of cut through everything. And so Devin's like, no, you really stepped in it. There's going to be murders in the streets, and it's going to be all your fault, and you're going to be responsible. But you have to make sure that you are protected. And Kelsier feels that, and maybe that's what drives him to go and do what he does, to jump into the fray. I knew I said that I was going to protect him from the fray, but maybe Devin just tells it like it is.
Yeah. And you know what? I want to throw something out there. Devin is Kelsier's half-brother. But Kelsier doesn't know. And Devin is he's a little bit older. But he's always looked after Kelsier, even when Kelsier didn't even know it. Maybe Kelsier woke up in the streets one day and he's like, oh man, these are my best pants. Oh well. And then the next day he woke up, there was more pants around him. He don't know where they came from. And he never made that connection. And then as he was leaving the shop that day, Devin said, goodbye, Kelsier. I've always loved you. You are my brother. And I'm Tim Gunn.
Tim Gunn! You made it into this book! You know, this Devin, I really think he is Tim Gunn, because Tim Gunn, he tells it like it is. He makes great pants. He's a really exceptional person, I think. I think that's wonderful.
This is Brandon Sanderson. Devin.
Devin. Put a Devin in your book. What are you waiting for? Watch a season of Project Runway and just see if you don't be like, you know, Devin's not such a bad idea. And so I want to get back to just one thing. His arc. The hat. His coup de grace. Before Devin leaves, you know, in this book, as everything's he decides to leave the final empire. But the last thing he does is he finishes a design for a Stetson-style cowboy hat. And he leaves it just in his office. And that information is collected by, you know, people that love Devin's work, and it's saved over the years, and that becomes the initial design for the hat that Waxilium Ladrian wears in the Alloy of Law in the later books. So Devin bringing it all together, you know, he helped everyone. He helped Wax. He helped Kelsier, and Wax looks handsome in that hat. If I'm reading it correctly, he looks handsome.
You know what, I think Devin would be a prominent, not only fashion figure, but a prominent figure in society for the rest of the Mistborn lifetime, which is, you know, this series, or at least these 3 books, and the next 3, 4, and then going on into future books. Devin would always have an influence somewhere. And maybe they'll recreate Devin's style, and when things get back to retro again, people be walking around with, you know, Devin pants and Devin scarf pants.
In the next book, there's actually a big deal. Like they try to portray some things through fashion, and so maybe Devin becomes the tailor of the new empire, or whatever happens in the next books. So I think that Devin, he's an influential guy. He's important, and he's like the master propagandist, because he makes real good pants, and that's the number one thing that this revolution is built on, just good pants.
It is. It really is. Oh man, I love Devin.
I love Devin too.
Let me think. If there's anyone out there who is good at drawing things, draw us a Devin. Draw us a Devin making a hat, and draw us a Devin sitting in a park on a Sunday. Making a hat
next to Bernadette Peters.
with Stephen Sondheim, I don't know, like smoking in the background. I don't know. I don't care.
Oh man,
But
you know
Todd
who would
Devin.
really love, who really love this image that we're painting right now?
Who?
Devin.
He would.
He would.
That's so Devin. Oh, Devin.
That's so Devin. My new favorite sitcom.
in the in the Final Empire. It's a weekly stage production by Devin.
Thank you guys so much for joining us for another week of Brandon Sanderfans.
Yeah.
This one I loved doing with you guys, and I know it got heady, it got heartwarming with Devin. Please let the love shine through in your lives, all of you. I know I sound like a guru, but do it, man.
Because you are a guru, Ben.
Yeah, I learned everything I know from Devin. But thanks again for listening to the podcast and liking and sharing. Please follow us on Twitter at @BSanderfans. Every week I post up actually a really bad Photoshop of what you can look forward to in the next episode. So that's
it's
always
so great.
fun. And you'll always get, updates to what we're doing on the podcast that way too. And you can follow me at Ben Parrish, BenNParrish on Twitter. And Sam, where are you?
I'm at home. But you can follow me at Samuel_Loose, LOOSE, at gmail.com. No, that's just Twitter. Sorry, I got you got But it's
Do I
always
need to delete that so now that your email's not out there?
Hang on. Here's my password. It's I love Devin. I love Devin.
Juice Boys with a Z.
It's Devin's pants. Pants. 33.
And now you have to listen back to actually how we spell Devin so that you spell it correctly.
Oh man. Hey everybody, thanks for listening. We will see you next week. We'll have exciting announcements about, I don't know, there's got to be something exciting happening. But now we have to follow up, so hopefully there'll be exciting announcements.
There'll definitely be something exciting going on in Mistborn next week as we get into the fight with the Inquisitor and what happens afterwards.
Heck yeah.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. And as always, read a book.
Read a book.